Have you ever heard someone say that the NCLEX was easy or that they walked out confident they'd passed? Well, I sure haven't met anyone with either of those responses, and I'm guessing that you haven't either. But that's what happens on every computer adaptive test, including the NCLEX. But here's a question. Did you know that it's possible to answer just 58% of the questions correct on the NCLEX and still pass with flying colors? Well, how's that possible, and what does it mean for you? Well, stay tuned. I'm Jake Schubert, the founder of Nursity, and you're about to become an NCLEX insider. How do you pass the NCLEX getting only 58% of the questions correct? Well, I have a secret to share. You see, everyone who passes only gets about 58% of the questions correct on the NCLEX. That's why everyone who leaves the exam thinks they failed and it was the hardest exam they've ever taken. And they'll tell you they felt like they missed a ton of questions. But that's because they did. See, nobody ever tells you this. You're gonna miss most of the questions, or about half the questions on the NCLEX. See, the NCLEX selects each question on a difficulty level that it estimates you have a 50% chance of answering correctly based on your performance up to that point on the exam. So presumably, you're gonna miss as many questions as you get correct. When you answer an easier question, it bumps you up to a more difficult question. So after you get through the first few questions, you're going to start to miss about every other one. Let's take a look at this example student. The current baseline passing standard has a logit of 0, which is basically a measure of the difficulty level. You can see that this student got the first few questions correct, those are the green ones, and then started to miss about every other question, those are the red ones. As a question is answered correctly, a slightly more difficult question follows. Each incorrect response is followed by a slightly easier question. Now let me make something clear before I go any further. Just because you get 58% of the questions correct on the NCLEX doesn't guarantee you're going to pass. You still have to be above that passing standard. Now if you want more information on the passing standard and how that works, I created an entire video about that called What is the NCLEX? So have you ever taken a test where you could miss about half the questions and still pass? Probably not. So this feeling will totally jack up your confidence in the middle of the test. This totally freaks people out. And I can assure you, you're gonna be okay. Right? You're gonna miss a lot of questions, and loss of confidence is an expected feeling. But don't let it throw you from your game. Don't dwell on that feeling, because everyone who ever passed the NCLEX had that same scary sensation, and they still passed. You got into nursing school, you passed nursing school, and you have the knowledge to pass the NCLEX. But you do need to make sure that you have the strategies that you need to answer questions about unfamiliar topics. If you do this, you're going to come out the other side a professional nurse. And don't fret, you're not alone here. Let me know how I can help you on your path to NCLEX brilliance by posting a comment below. If you found this information helpful, you can go ahead and email a link to this video to a friend or classmate, and go ahead and post it on Facebook. And if you haven't already done so, subscribe to this YouTube channel and keep receiving some awesome updates. Oh, and be sure to check out one of my most watched videos on how to upgrade your thinking to the application and analysis level. I show you how to move past the ABCs in patient prioritization. For example, what happens if they ask you to prioritize 4 patients who all have circulation problems? What do you do then? We'll show you how.